contacted me through my Landscapes of Ann Arbor website. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of a little bit about what I do, which we talked a bit on the phone, and then also do a free analysis for you and give you a couple of tools that you can use to kind of beef up your current site. So first of all, I went back to my email that you had sent me, and I was looking at the tag that you sent, which is great. There's a lot of information here. It's nice that you have the cell phone if someone wants to get in contact with you right away. But one of the things that's missing is just the .com, your URL. So I actually wasn't sure what your .com was, so I went ahead and headed over to Google, and I typed in your company name, and I said, okay, well, probably this first guy here. And what shows up on that list, or on that Google search, is Google Maps. So you show up here, which is great. And when I click here, I notice that you're called Livingston Concrete. And then here we see Livingston Concrete again, but on your Google business page, you're registered as Livingston County Concrete. So that discrepancy can have a little bit of an effect on how your business ranks in terms of how consistent your name, address, and phone number show up across the web. That's something called a citation, name, address, and phone number. It's also something that is put out like in directories, for instance, Yelp or Yellow Pages. And the NAP, or name, address, and phone number, is something that needs to be consistent. And when it is consistent, it helps your rankings when people do web searches. So that was just one little tip there, on top of maybe wanting to add your URL directly to your tag in your email. So I decided to head over to Google, do another just general quick search for concrete supplies, Brighton, because that looks like that's a lot of what you guys do. And we have the first thing that comes up in a Google search typically is an ad. And then you have what's called the Google organic searches. And then these are things that rank based on how closely the keywords that the user searches for, how closely those match in the different web pages that are out there. So then here we have a Google map listing that shows up, and then this looks like one of probably your main competitors in the area. I also noticed that they show up really high on the Google Organics ranking, but the good news is that you do too. You show up right here, which, you know, page 1 of Google is pretty good. I thought I'd show you what it would look like in Ann Arbor. And again, we have the Google ads at the top. And then this is the interface that you would more typically see, because what Google typically does is the ads, then they have what we like to refer to as the 3-pack of maps. So there's 3 people here, and then below that is the Google organic searches. So when I'm looking at this, I can tell right away that these guys, nobody has any reviews here. Oh well, we have one. We have one at Fent Builders, okay? One of the things we can do is click on those and we can see more. These guys, they don't really have very many pictures. This guy doesn't have any pictures at all. Neither does this guy. Neither does this guy. Okay, so this guy has a couple of pictures. So why I'm talking about this: Google loves data, loves information. Okay, so whether it's words or pictures or information, when you register your Google Plus page, let's go back to yours here. Let's take a look. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's your website. Whoops. Well, okay, so I can see you have 3 Google reviews. Let's take a look. Awesome. They're all good reviews, which is really great. But I don't see very many pictures. Oh, wait, sorry. Here we go. Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. You have a lot of pictures here. My recommendation is to typically list at least 30. I know it sounds like a lot, but then also to put at least 500 words in your Google business page description. All of those things are going to help you beat out your competition here. Because when I just did the concrete supplies Brighton, for whatever reason, this was the only map listing that showed up. So One other tool that's totally free that you can use is called Majestic. You can just go over to majestic.com. I went ahead and copied and pasted the website from one of your main competitors just to look at some of the information about their website. They have 39 external backlinks, 2 referring domains, 2 referring IPs. And then I'll explain everything what that means, but let's look at yours. I have that open in another tab. Okay, so you have 60 external backlinks, 18 referring domains, and 17 referring IPs. I know this sounds like another language, but what this shows here is that your website is stronger, okay? So the more your website is referenced on the web, the more weight it carries with Google, okay? So therefore your ranking should be better. What this says is this company only really has 2 different websites that are talking about it. And then those 2 different websites are linking to them a number of times, which is sort of artificial. And Google's algorithms understand all of that. What you have is a lot more referring domains. So a lot more websites are talking about you, and you have a lot of backlinks, and they're spread out among those. You can scroll down and take a little bit more of a look on both yours and your competitor's website. And here it talks about the anchor text. Anchor text is simply the text that is highlighted and linked to the website. So for instance, this here, right here, if I were to click on that, would open another website, and the anchor text for it is the words anchor text. So pretty simple, but that's all that's describing where it's coming from, etc. And then you can look down further and see the backlinking URLs, and it looks like you're on the Heartland Chamber of Commerce. You've got something from Redyscapes referring you as a place where you can buy their materials, which is great. So you can see that information for both your website and your competitors. Another totally free tool that you can use is called Alexa, and this gives some information that you can use for keyword searching. That's the best part. But first things first, the global rank. Not even every company has a global rank, so sometimes they have one, sometimes they don't. Both you and your competitor, here's yours, your website, have a global rank. Yours is a little better than theirs. So the smaller the number, the closer it is to 1, the better the rank. But really, what the best tool that you can get out of Alexa is looking at the top keyword searches, from search engines. So when people are going to your competitor, they're finding them by using the word concrete delivery Brighton, Michigan. That's 85% of their traffic. That's a lot. They have concrete Brighton, Livingston, concrete Brighton, okay? So that's interesting because these would be words I would use to find your site. So I find it interesting that 4%, which isn't a ton, of their traffic is actually being directed to them based on those search terms. When we come over to your website, scroll down, we can see that the words, 40% of your top keyword search is Ready Rock, and that's a product that you carry. Of course, cement, concrete delivery Brighton, so you show up for that as well, concrete Brighton and Ready Rock. Okay, so this just gives you an idea of what is your competition being found for, what are you being found for. So these guys, as I mentioned, when we looked at their Majestic site, don't actually have the strongest website, and they're not showing up for as many keyword searches, which actually is a favor for you. It's in your advantage that you're being found for more things, more diverse searches. But when we come to Google and we did that search, you don't show up in the math listings. So I think there are a couple of things that you could take from that in terms of getting your Google business updated or consistent with your naming for your website might help you, in addition to adding more text description to your Google business page, as I mentioned, 500 words, and then really pimping it out and doing 30 photos. Let's see how many photos these guys have. I'm just curious. Oops. They have an okay amount, and there's a lot of duplicate images, and Google sees that as duplicate images too. So really, you have a lot of room to improve. There are some really simple things that you could do to improve your listing and get more better ranking on Google and get found by more customers. So typically what I do is help people set up separate websites, like from their business site, and usually it's for a specific thing. If someone is really interested in doing just, for instance, with a landscaper, if they're looking to really get a lot of traffic for something specific like landscape design, they could have almost like a whole page dedicated to that to try and get more landscape design and installation projects. Or maybe they want to really get more people for lawn care and lawn mowing. They could set up a page dedicated solely to that. That would be very focused on getting business just for that one thing. So if I understood a little bit more about how you were trying to get business, that's definitely something I could help you with. And I hope this was useful for you and gives you a little glimpse of some tools that you could use and a little bit of an idea of what I can do to help. And I'm going to send this to you, shoot you over, give you my information, and perhaps we'll meet up on Monday. Thanks!